Hello, ni hao, konnichiwa. So I'm back after a break from these posts. I finished shooting a short film for the course I'm studying, so that's a relief. However, I will still be busy with the course over the next few months, helping other people with their projects, my classmates. But anyway, so getting back to my journey, trying to make music and earn money from music and using my own compositions. So I received my first kind of paycheck from the Performing Rights Association in Australia. This is for performing my own tunes, and it's nice to get a bit of cash for one's own compositions. It was only came to about $100 for performing maybe 10 or 15 times over the first half of the year, but you know, it's a nice start and it's a bit of a buzz to get something for one's own, you know, composition. Anyway, I thought I'd talk about some other things because I do have a side project where I'm looking at cryptocurrencies and Web3 with regards to the music industry. And I'm looking at this because I feel that it's getting tougher to get a following on the current social media platforms. So I think YouTube is getting harder and harder. A lot of musicians I hear go on TikTok. I'm not very comfortable with TikTok. I may go on there and post my music, but I'm not happy that it's so easily influenced by the government, the Chinese government, and it's kind of, I know, a bit of propaganda on there. It's not really an open platform. So I'm kind of interested in Web3 platforms that will be more open and will provide opportunities, especially for newcomers to the space. But it can be disillusioning. I don't think it's healthy just to come to the space for trying to make money from tokens like meme coins. And if you look at the past projects, you know, there were those kind of opportunities, but that's, you know, a lot of speculation. So I've been looking at some different projects. For example, there's a music streaming platform called Audius. I've put my music up on there. And at the moment, you can't really make money from it, except it has a feature for people, your fans donating cryptocurrencies to you. Only the currency I think that's used in Audius, which is called Audio. But it's, you know, a good platform for exposure. It's a good alternative to SoundCloud. And they've introduced messaging, but I find it very spamming. The messaging on SoundCloud I found was more useful and gave way to find collaborations with other musicians. You can do remixes and stuff, so I've enjoyed that on SoundCloud. I haven't really found that with Audius yet, but there may be opportunities. I've also tried using some of the Web3 distribution services that allow you to use crypto to distribute your music onto platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. So these are still up and coming small companies. One I tried was called Noom, which I found useful and interesting because you can upload your songs, and then you can also you earn the streaming royalties from the distribution platforms, from Spotify and Apple, and you can sell those rights, those royalty rights, onto your fans on the Noom platform. So that's a nice little innovation. But of course, if you're not that well-known a musician, then who's going to buy your streaming rights if you're not really making any money from your music? So, you know, it gets back to the same thing. You've got to get a following. You have to maybe strive to get semi-famous or something. So I don't know if I'm happy about the way that's going. But, you know, I'll keep an eye out in this space. There may be more social media Web3 platforms that if you get in early, you can find it easier to build a following. Like in Audius, I found it reasonably easy to get 1,000 followers. On SoundCloud, I found that very difficult. I couldn't achieve that. And on YouTube and like Facebook, it's a lot harder. I think they're just such large, established and crowded platforms that the latecomers find it harder to grow. So anyway, that's my adventures into Web3 and crypto, just looking for new opportunities. Yeah, I feel like when you're trying to develop a kind of career in music using your own compositions, a lot of it is about the marketing yourself and trying to gain followers and stuff and likes and views and streams. So it can be a numbers game. Other things I'm looking into are getting on playlists in Spotify. So again, I think Spotify has reached that saturation where I hear that it's getting harder and harder for musicians to not only get the streams, but to make as much money from the streams they can make. I think Spotify's brought in a new rule that if you don't get 1,000 streams within a 12-month period, you will not get any proceeds from any streams. So you have to get above 1,000 to start earning money. So, there are all these things that are making it harder and harder, and it gets a competitive space. And then now with AI music, generated music, and AI generated artists, it's going to get even harder, I guess, even more crowded space. So I'm not sure how it's all going to go, but you got to look for new opportunities as well, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, I'll keep working and I'll keep improving my repertoire. At the moment, I've got about 9 songs I can perform, and I'm working on mixing and mastering one of the latest songs to put on streaming platforms, and I'll just keep going. I hope to build about 20 songs, I suppose, maybe an hour and a half of music. Then I could perform perhaps in larger venues or cafes, at different functions perhaps. And I think because of the saturation of recorded music and AI and everything, performance is going to be even more important. People are going to want to see real live performers playing music in front of them with the kind of excitement and risk that they can make mistakes, that they're not perfect machines. They're going to want that human connection, the emotions from the songs. So yeah, I think that's going to be where the value lies, and in your local communities perhaps. Yeah, so I'll see where all this goes. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll give another update in a couple of weeks. Okay, so long.